You are listening to chartingwealth.com for Friday the 15th of December 2017. What do we see on these charts? We see the S&P 500 down for the day 0.41%. The Q's down just a little 0.07%. That is the NASDAQ 100. TLT, the 20-year bonds, up 0.42%. And gold down 0.20%. Now we're going to the last day of the week. When that candle is drawn, we will have a complete weekly candle. What do we see as we close the day on Thursday and go into Friday? We see that we have a decent up candle for the week, not as strong as the prior weeks yet. It still has another day to possibly grow. When we're looking at our weekly chart on the S&P 500, was a bit of a down day, just 0.41%, so not quite 0.5%. Derivative oscillator is pretty much flat. The price percent oscillator still headed up a little bit, not as strong as it had been in the prior week ending the 8th of December. But we do have a decent week so far. Price movement well above the weekly trend line. Now, as we get into the two-day chart, what do we see? Well, price movement still above, but we do see a weakened candle, a red open box candle. And again, it's just the first day of the latest two-day candle. That candle will finish drawing at the close of business on Friday, the 15th. We see that the price percent oscillator has gone flat, actually headed down a little bit toward the red signal line. Derivative oscillator losing a lot of energy. It's the second pullback so we've basically between the last pullback on the 7th of December and this latest pullback so far. Now, it could change. If it's a big up day, then it will totally erase that on the candle. But so far, looks like a pullback. We had 4 days in between those two pullback candles of up movement. So again, are things weakening? Could the market be topping out? Well, you could have tried to say that many times before over the last many months, and it's just continued to plug away, relax for a little while, and then head up again. But we do see on the two-day chart some reduction in the up movement and a flattening, like we said, of our main oscillator, our main indicator, the price percent oscillator. So as we look a little bit deeper into the 4-hour chart, what do we see happening? Well, 4-hour chart crossed over going down. If you were trading on that 4-hour chart, of course, you do want to be very cognizant of that. Like we said, price movement still above the 2-day and the weekly, but you do have that crossover going down on the 4-hour chart. So be very cognizant of that, and particularly where those trend lines are. When you start having crossovers and penetration of trend lines, then you really start paying attention to a change in movement and possibly a change in trend. That's where we are on the S&P 500. Next, we go to the Qs, QQQ, the NASDAQ 100. What do we see going on there? Well, on the weekly chart, steadily over the last 4 weeks, losing energy on the derivative oscillator, price percent oscillator, keeps looking like, in fact, it was closer than it is right now last week when it looked like it wanted to cross over, didn't quite do it, hasn't quite done it yet. If it's a big down day for the NASDAQ on Friday, could have a crossover on that weekly chart, but don't yet. In fact, we have a green up candle so far for the week. And again, a little bit of down movement over the course of the day on Thursday, but again, just 0.07%. So keep your eye on that weekly chart. If there is a weekly vertical crossover going down, we'll sure notify you. All of you who subscribe to our text service want to know more about that, subscribe to Charting Wealth's daily podcast, which you can do at chartingwealth.com for free. What do we see on the two-day chart? Well, we're going into a third possible candle of up movement, still confirmed down on the two-day chart, has blown through that two-day trend line and above nicely the weekly trend line, but don't have a crossover going up yet. And when you don't have enough energy to have a crossover on the two-day chart going in the same direction as the weekly chart, then you don't have a trade on the Qs. But derivative oscillator losing downward momentum, but the price percent oscillator is actually still headed down a little bit. So again, not strong enough movement up to counteract those 4 two-day candles, so 8 days worth of strong down movement. So we'll just continue to watch. What do we see on the 4-hour chart? Well, we see up movement, and really up until about the morning of the 13th, and then things started sliding sideways in the afternoon on Wednesday the 13th, and then over the course of the day on Thursday. Still in a confirmed up move on the 4-hour chart, but remember that 2-day chart is in a down move. We have to have the weekly and the 2-day moving in the same direction as the 4-hour chart. Typically wait for a pullback on that 4-hour chart. Then when it crosses back over in the same direction as the 2 larger charts, that's when we pull the trigger. That's where we are on the cues. Going to head into our 3rd chart as always. The 20-year bonds, what are they doing? Well, we had a crossover going up, if you recall, back on the week ending the 1st of December. It's what we call a weekly vertical crossover. It is our strongest indicator, and it typically works for trading and or investing. Now, again, we're not a stock calling service. We want you to train with us, and we want you to practice trade. You can go to any of the online brokers, set up an virtual trading account, and you can practice trade, which is what we want you to do using the trade worksheet that's available for everybody who subscribes to our daily market review. We have a PDF in there that you can print out, helps you track what you're learning. So what do we see going on? We had that weekly vertical crossover on December the 1st, and of course followed by a week of up movement for the week ending the 8th, and so far a nice week of up movement for the week that will be ending the 15th. We still have to draw that last candle. Derivative oscillators kicked up nicely, and the price percent oscillator has kicked up nicely also, so we see nice strong growth. As we look at our 2-day chart, what do we see? 2-day chart is moving up nicely. Again, move parallels the up move. In the weekly chart, price movement is above both the weekly and the 2-day. So far on the first day of this latest 2-day candle, which is nice. And in fact, once that candle is drawn, we might want to actually redraw that well, and it's pretty much going to be the same if the bottom part is going to stay just where it is. It's talking about redrawing our trend lines. We want to always try to connect 3 candles if possible. We're getting sort of close to that, so we'll continue to keep our eye on it. Derivative oscillators gaining energy, and of course the price percent oscillator moving up quite nicely. Now, what's going on the 4-hour chart? Well, of course, it's crossing over again, going up. Nice, that happened in the morning. You had a potential jumping in point in the afternoon. If you were not already in the trade, we had some concerns about staying in that trade because of all the move over. Crossover going down in the morning of the 8th on that 4-hour chart, but has retraced that and started moving up nicely. So again, the magic of the weekly vertical crossover continues to show itself again and again and again. That's why we love it. Now, let's keep moving through these charts. We'll go to our last chart for the day. As always, gold down 0.20% for the day. We're into our 2nd week of strong down movement in gold. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. That price percent oscillator continuing to head down strongly as the candles are down and red. And in fact, we will continue to try to draw an accurate trend line on that weekly chart. Price movement well below. Look at the 2-day chart. We've had over the course of the last 1.5 days, 3 days. It's 1.5 candles because we're only the first day of this latest 2-day candle representing 3 days of movement. Had some up movement on the 2-day candle ending the 13th, and we have a green spinning top, which means indecision tending up the first day of this latest 2-day candle, broken through the trend line as far as the downward momentum set on the 2-day chart. But we see the derivative oscillator continuing to stay about steady and the price percent oscillator continuing with its downward momentum. We have a feeling, though, as you start looking at that 4-hour chart, you can tell it crossed over going up back in the afternoon on Wednesday the 13th and is pretty much stuck to about where it topped off back in the afternoon of the 13th, somewhere about 119.19. Now, the 4-hour chart is headed up Of course, Friday marks the 15th of December, where our 4-hour chart many times stops working for us. This 4-hour chart is sort of our best and most magical of all of our charts because it seems to work by itself over and over and over again. It has started moving up strongly. Those of you who want to practice trade on that can, of course, do it. Just be aware that you have the weekly and the 4-hour chart. The weekly and the 2-day chart working against you, and it was a bit of a down day overall on Thursday, 0.20%. That is where we are, my friends, as we end the day on Thursday, go into Friday the 15th. Hope that you are looking forward to a very festive holiday season. I sure am. We will be continuing to record, even though I'm going to be on the road this next week. I am going to be recording, God willing, and putting out all of our broadcasts and trying to keep you posted on what's going on as we sort of end the year and go into the Christmas holidays and such. We'll continue to be broadcasting to you each and every day, God willing. We love to hear from you. If questions, problems, concerns, write us, cw@chartingwealth.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really appreciate your subscriptions there. Helps us a lot with the metrics. And also to get everything from us, go to chartingwealth.com and sign up for our daily market review. You'll get the daily market reviews, the once-a-week weekly market review, and you'll be the first to receive our training and the new releases on each chapter of our book as they come out. We just emailed out, actually, Chapter 7 last week on trend lines. Great teaching there. Thank you so much, my friends. God bless from the whole team here at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. Remember, you can do it.